Hello. Do you think about how language impacts your social life? Social media is full of abbreviations, hashtags, and pictures that all communicate something to the audience. The Bachelor of Innovation team from UCCS would like to communicate to you how language has evolved from formal writing to simple emoticons. Words, like anything else, change over time. This results in language that is very different even across just a decade, but is still familiar enough that a person with no linguistic skills can read it even if the text is over 100 years old. The objective of this lesson is to look over some words used in common parlance from the past, the near past, and the modern day, and to discuss the way language evolves and changes according to different developments in society. Here we have a list of slang words from varying periods of time. You probably know some of them already. You might even recognize some of the Shakespearean words from any readings you've done in class. Define these, and if you don't know one, take a guess. Here we have some sentences. Let's try and fix some of the old words used. Just as I'm sure you all have slang words you use quite frequently, they will probably go out of trend soon. Here are some words that have been used recently and not so recently, but are now forgotten. Gramercy was used in the 15th century in General Elizabeth English, meaning great thanks. Fusseltarian was used in the 16th century Shakespearean theater, meaning a smelly old woman. Apothecary was most commonly used in the 13th century, although is still used sometimes today in General Elizabeth English, meaning someone who prepares and sells medicinal drugs. Shakespeare has impacted modern writing and speaking in many ways. Even in our everyday language, Shakespeare helped to form common expressions. Without Shakespeare's use of slang, we would not use the term icebreaker to get to know someone or describe something as dead as a doornail. Shakespeare used wit in his plays to keep these phrases alive. We can credit Shakespeare to modern slang, such as good riddance, heart of hearts, and even knock knock and who's there. Shakespeare intended for his language to be memorable, often writing in meter to add a sing-songy effect to his wordplay. Although some Shakespearean insults, such as fusseltarian, are not used today, Shakespeare's language impacts the way we express ourselves through common expressions and insults. Historians credit language change to generational changes. As each generation faces new political climates and social environments, people adapt new language and change the way words are used. Language is used for human survival. Humans need to adapt the way they interact with each other to define the relationship between two people. Whether language is used to impress others or relate on a personal level, language has changed generationally with the help of pop culture and politics. Language learning, generations. Language contact, people sharing language. Social differentiation, groups finding distinctiveness. Natural processes and usage, metaphorical use, sound change. Semantics change. Semantics is defined as the actual meaning of a word. An example of changing semantics is how awful used to mean awesome, and how the term guy comes from a criminal in England. Words may keep the same sound, but come to define something completely different. Is this an example of sound change or semantic change? This is an example of semantic change. The word changed meaning over time until the original meaning was lost. The word cheater is an example of semantic change, as the meaning of a word changed over time. In the 16th century, a cheater was an officer of the king who would look over the king's escheats, pieces of property claimed by the king. However, the cheaters gained a reputation for being mischievous and stealing land from citizens and abusing the money of the crown. Because of this, the word cheater became associated with those who act dishonestly to gain over other people. Now it's your turn. See if you can translate these sentences into their modern-day meanings. What about modern-day words? Are you familiar with some of these words? What other modern-day words are you familiar with? Now you know a bit about how language changes over time and how words are forgotten. We covered a bit how the sounds of words change as well as their semantic meaning. Any questions? If not, we will have you guys do a short post-assessment exercise.